Don't wait for someone else to have to tell you. Don't wait for me to tell you on a vlog. You should be out there testing stuff and then telling me so I can learn from you. But I ain't got patience to wait for that, so I'm out there carving my own path. Is it always right? No. Do I mess stuff up? Yep. Do I give a fuck? No. From a CMG perspective is we're going to launch the CMG Facebook page. So we haven't launched that yet. We've got it there, but we need to start generating a little bit of buzz around that. I think we'll get that to a point where we can launch it maybe tonight, and then we'll put a bit of paid traffic to it as well, just to opt in as well. Yeah. Same process. Yep. Yeah. Cool. And then have to play the sit and invite all my friends game. So when I launch it, you know, I'm going to have to sit there and I want to invite everyone to it so it gets as much traction as we can.
So is there not a quicker way to do that?
Oh, there's no quicker way. There is a quicker way to get someone else to do it. It's like, look, this is what the minimum viable service is. Does that, if we, at the end of this call though, are able to come to a solution, does that fit your budget right now, or is that outside of it? And you just need to let them be open about it. Because then you can go, cool, okay, I'm going to talk to someone else. And because not only that, it'll allow you to not have your energy sitting out there waiting for this person to get back to you. You know, like when there's open loops in our minds of, oh, is this person going to say yes or no? Are they going to take it? What are they thinking? Is it too much? Is it too less? Blah, blah, blah. Like all those thoughts consume us. It's making sure that we bring that to the forefront pretty quickly, you know. You're pre-qualifying as much as possible, you know. And don't be afraid to pre-qualify people even more. Yeah, people don't like talking about money. I mean, and I get it, because I was that guy as well. The amount of times I've sat with someone, talked for an hour plus, giving them, like, feeling like I was just answering every question possible, and then to get to the point of where you ask for business and they're like, oh, I can't afford it. And that needs to be talked about up front. The biggest issue with this is people say they got these amazing sales scripts you'll close 9 out of 10 people. The only way you're ever gonna close 9 out of 10 people is if you pre-qualify them before you get to that meeting, right? You're not gonna close 9 out of 10 cold people, right, who have never heard anything about you, and then you sit down and you give them this crazy spiel. That's not what sales is about, in my view. You know, you need to look at it from a strategic perspective, but you also need to look at it from a realistic perspective. If you've got services that, you know, start at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, that needs to be talked about up front, you know? And like I was just saying here with Nick, is that we need to have that conversation going, look, this is our minimal viable product. This is what it starts at per month. If we find a solution and we can serve your needs and you're comfortable with all of that, right? And I even sometimes say, look, if we could wave the magic wand, and at the end of this call, you're happy, you feel that we can serve what you need to have done. This is the minimum viable monthly spend. This is what it starts at. Is that within your budget? It's a simple question. You need to be able to say that with someone. Because then the question, if they go, oh, not really, you can explore that. You can say, look, is there a way that you could potentially come up with that money if you needed to? Would you be able to? Yeah, okay, well, cool. Then it's your job to be able to show them that you are the person that can do the job for it. So it's powerful.
And so is that something that you bring up sort of like immediately?
Not like you build a little bit of rapport, but at the start, in my view, is you've got to talk about it. If it's not in a pre-qualifying question, so we always have a pre-qualifying, you know, what's your monthly budget that you can, that you're willing to invest. You know, like if we're getting people for our inner circle, for example, now our inner circle is not, and I hate this word, but for lack of better words, it's not a cheap program, right? It's an investment. If someone expresses interest in the program, but they're saying their weekly budget is, you know, like $40 a week, I mean, they're not a fit for the program, so I'm not going to spend an hour talking to them and sharing about how great this program is, because there's no way they can bridge the gap. So you've got to be able to bridge the gap, or at least show them the other side of the bridge, and that there is a way that you can get across if they can afford it. That's it. People don't talk about money because everyone has whatever their own money paradigm, their own money belief, their money mindset. It's almost like money is a sacred conversation, you know, where even some people get so offended when you go, oh, how much did that cost you? How much are you earning per year? People are like, it's private. And I get it. I get it. Sometimes you don't want to, reveal that information, but you got to ask yourself, why don't you want to reveal the information? And a lot of the time people don't reveal the information because they don't have a real reason. They just go, oh, I don't think I should be. Crazy thing, money. Makes people do some really weird shit. And I just want everyone to know you don't just sit in the sales meeting and go, how much can you afford? And that's it. There's got to be other pre-qualifying questions that surround that and uncover the thing. It's like, if you even went into the meeting and say, look, I understand what your general reaction is probably going to be to this question because I ask it every single time when I'm sitting down with a prospective person that we can help, is I'm going to ask you how much you can afford. Now I just need you to know this, that by asking that question, that's not for us to try and find out what we can charge you because we have a minimum set spend every single month to work with us, and we just need to know if you can afford it or not. In your case, it's a $600 program. It's like, how many people do you need to present to in order for you to sell a $600 program? Because you're at the start and you actually haven't done it before, my view around that is, number one, do you just take the risk and put $600 on and add traffic to hopefully sell one? I'd look at it a little bit more like a calculated risk. Before you go and do that, and because budget is tight, so because you're working with a tight budget and you can't afford just to throw $600 out and hopefully you get someone, is keep practicing and practicing that presentation at least half a dozen times until you're super clear with it, so that when you are going into another webinar that you've utilized paid traffic for, you're going to have the best possible chance of converting. So I see too many people running their first webinar, they'll run traffic, they'll get people there. If you get 50 people on your webinar, like, you should 100%, you should sell at least a handful of those units. Now that's a good gauge, because if you're not, then there's a number of factors happening. Number one is probably the presentation wasn't great. Your structure is going to be great because we created it, and I know that it works, so you're a head start there. But it ultimately comes down to your delivery. If you're delivering the best possible presentation, because you could run my presentation, or I could give my presentation to someone that I already know converts, and they could do it and convert no one. Because again, it comes down to preparation, knowing your stuff. But more than just knowing your stuff is knowing how the flow of your presentation actually fits. So my advice would be knock out a couple more practice presentations so you can get the runs on the board, and then we start utilizing the paid traffic. Always got to be active and proactive with building your fan page. People come to me going, oh, it's so hard to build fan pages, nothing happens, I'm not getting any fans, let alone generating leads. And we're not having trouble with it because we're always innovating, we're always doing something new, testing something. And that's a big secret within itself. Keep testing, trying. Not everything we do works. That's definitely apparent, but give yourself permission, start trying stuff. Pay attention as well. It's not like it's a big secret. A lot of the time you can work a lot of stuff out by seeing what other people are doing. It's how you growth hack. Don't wait for someone else to have to tell you. Don't wait for me to tell you on a vlog. You should be out there testing stuff and then telling me, so I can learn from you. But I ain't got patience to wait for that, so I'm out there carving my own path. Is it always right? No. Do I mess stuff up? Yep. Do I give a fuck? No. So. People talk about the 9 to 5. Escape the 9 to 5 and then do the 6 to 6. Big day today. It was actually very reminiscent of me back in the day when I started Fit International about 8 years ago, 7 years ago. In the trenches doing a heap of stuff ourselves. If you haven't seen it already, we're running a $10,000 competition for the launch of Campbell Media Group. Simple as just got to be a fan of the page. So, you know, if that doesn't leave you a clue on how you can build a fan page, I'm afraid I'm out of ways to be able to share with you, but I think we've already hit 50 fans already in the last 30 minutes, so if you haven't yet become a fan, you should do so. The link will be in the description somewhere. I'll be back here early in the morning, go home, have some food, and I shouldn't really take this with me, but okay. Probably got a couple hours work in bed. Things you do when you're starting new companies, you know, you just got to put in the extra work. That's why I said it feels reminiscent of when I started, you know, Fit International. As much as I don't like to say I've been cruising the last few years, I mean, I've been doing a lot, building a lot, but there's always there's something different about starting from scratch. You know, there's something, it's like the ground and pound, you know, the dirt, get it in there, roll up the sleeves, back to the basics, do what we built the foundation of this entire thing on anyway. So, yep, I'm done. So, if you enjoyed today's vlog and you got something from it, as always, do us a favor, leave us a comment below, let us know what you learnt, and also be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Ready? I'm done.